Hello, my name is Alison Blackwood, and my aim is to encourage you in Christ as you press on from day to day. In an earlier episode, I would have compared life to a workshop experience. And I guess we know that in a workshop, there are tasks that are being performed as persons utilize different tools and resources to complete the task that they have in mind. In a workshop, we also can imagine that there can be particular tools that might pose some danger to the persons who come into the workshop or who are using the tools. And so it would be important for these tools to be put up safely so that no one is exposed to risk. Then we also can imagine that there are certain tools and resources that might be used repetitively. So, in order to organize the workshop activities in a way that things can be done in the most efficient and effective way, typically the tools that are used often would be arranged in a way that they're easily accessible by persons who need to use the tools. So, if we were to compare this to our lives, we can see that there is value in having systems in place in our homes. So for instance, a system could be our meal planning, it could be how we organize our the home, how we organize the items in the house that we need to use on a daily basis or weekly basis, how we organize our cleaning schedules, our laundry, or even how we organize our wardrobe, or even where we put our keys and things like that that we need to use in a way that we need to use often, but yet we need to make sure that they are safe and secure. So as we live each day, our home systems and life systems can help us in a beneficial way, and they can also help us live a more fulfilled life. There's nothing worse, I think, than you need something at the last minute and you don't know where it is. Your time is short, and that little thing can create frustration. So, if you can avoid it, I'm sure you would agree with me that it would be something to explore to put systems in place that you can reduce the stress of trying to find things that you just don't remember where you had put them. And that's where home systems come in. They can be very simple or they can be very complex. But the aim of the system is really to help you live a more fulfilled life and reduce stress in areas where you have the control. So there'll be times, of course, for the picture perfect showroom experience. I would have explained that in a previous episode that most of our lives are lived more like a workshop. So if we recognize that a lot of our time is lived in the workshop experience, then it would be feasible and it would be a good idea to incorporate beauty and joy and in the things that we need to do on a day-to-day and a weekly, so we can make our workshop experience enjoyable. So that would include looking at our environment, how we organize our homes, and those things can go a long way in making our whole life experience a wonderful thing. So as we do that, we can also explore how we develop our talents and our abilities. And if we were to think of it from a foundational perspective, one of the first things we would be doing would be to spend time with God so that He can help guide us in the things that we need to do. And as we explore our devotional time, we can also um, include other activities like our self care routines or occupational pursuits, the living life to the fullest in terms of how we spend our time, how we do our recreation activities, and be intentional about what is in our control. And in all of what we do, we can give God the honor and glory. So when we look at the fundamentals or the nuts and bolts of of, of the activities, it would be clear that the simple things, if we take them seriously and intentionally organize those little things, those so-called little things in our lives, it can actually help us in very big ways. Everything can be broken down into small steps. Everything can be made simpler. So if we can look at those fundamentals and organize them, then it would help us in our daily living. So these are components of our workshop life experience. So as I continue, even as we go into the workshop experience, we would see the transformation that is happening in our lives. So we can put systems in place. Of course, it would take time to determine what the systems, the home systems we will need, and it would take time to implement them. But once we begin with the simpler systems, we can test them, we can review the results, and we can improve. And then we can add to those. So it is a wise idea to start with something simple. And I would also encourage you to document what you're doing, document the results, and then review and update, upgrade as you go along. And I believe that you would experience immense benefits. As I said, it would take time, but once you start and you're determined to do it one step at a time and celebrate every success, every point that you are progressing, then that would add, it would develop, and you'll be building on success after success. So as I said, take small steps towards your desired outcome. So the workshop approach don't only mean that, as I said before, that you're waiting for the beauty to be seen at the end of the process. You can actually incorporate beauty along the way. It's almost like gardening. Even though you have in your mind the estimated time for something to take, say 6 weeks, you actually can enjoy the beauty as you monitor and observe the growth, like from the first time you see a leaf sprout, then you see the stem, then you see the leaves, more leaves and more leaves. And as you water and as you nurture, it's an exciting experience to see your plant just grow before your eyes. So the workshop approach sees and plans for the beauty and joy to be weaved into the entire experience. But it don't mean that you are going to stop there. It don't mean that you wouldn't, improve over time. You can start with one idea. Maybe, for instance, your first idea might be, okay, I need to make sure that I have my key at a particular place. And when I arrive at home, remember to put back my key at a particular place. Or it could mean, okay, when I reach home, I should put my bag at a particular place. It's those simple things, because sometimes when we're so busy, we might just drop things and then forget out of fatigue where we place them. So the workshop is looking at, or I should say the workshop comparison is looking at the things, those little things that you do from day to day in order to live. So as you do this, you can depend on God to give you the ideas about the little things in your home, your life, that you can sit down and say, okay, I would want to improve in this area. Let me see what I can do today. And I am sure that as you go through this, you will experience lots and lots of aha moments. So until next time, I encourage you to embrace the workshop experience that God has for you. And remember, as you rest in Christ, He will show you what to do. And I encourage you to press on. So take care for now. Bye.